needle. If you've got access to one of those, by all means use it. I'll have to pull one and bring it to my video station. And what I say to people is, if you've got an emery or a sand emery pin cushion, when I'm adjusting from finishing one to rethreading, then I'll park my needle into a pin cushion. That'll help clean it off and sharpen it a little bit as well. So if you remember correctly, this becomes trash. We don't need to save that. We had pulled 3 sets of 2 strands. Careful to undo that without tangling that right back up. We don't want to do that. And then we're going to just go again. So I just kind of smooth those threads so that they'll behave as one. And I'll come back to my thread end. It looks a little fray-y. Sometimes I say furry. I'm going to cut that at an angle. Again, I'm just nipping off maybe a 1/16 of an inch so that it stays smooth. When I walked away, I did this. So instead of using saliva, I've just got a little dish with a cotton ball in it. And I'm going to just dampen my fingers enough to kind of make that, just for a few minutes anyway, become one thread. Now, another notion that I highly recommend that I did not include in your kits is thread magic. And it's silicone. It looks like a little square box of it kind of looks like clay, but it's not sticky or oily or anything. And what you do with that is you just slide your threads through it. It adds some strengthening to them, and it helps keep them together a little bit more. So let's see if I can get it on. I don't think I'm going to get it on the first try again. I think it already dried off with me talking, so I'm just going to wet that again with the water that's in my cotton ball, and I'm going to try again. Missed it. Like I said, I think I don't have quite the right glasses. I've got it that time. So remember, I just pulled it so that my loose thread here, the shorter one, is about 10 inches, and let that drop. I'll smooth those all together again, and then we'll retie that knot. If you need more instruction on that, remember 2 thread ends in your left hand, needle in your right. I crossed it over parallel to my finger and wrapped it 3 times. Pushed down so I could hold on to that wrap, and then just pulled my needle up to the sky. I'm holding the needle, the wraps, until all that, you can feel it tug on you, you can't pull anymore, and then there's my clean knot right there. All right, so we've re-knotted. Remember, I always start just about opposite of where I want to begin, so I'm just going to coax my needle and the thread end that I want to leave up under there. And this time, where I want to begin, I'm sure you can see that, where I want to begin is right inside, right next to this leg right here. I want my needle to come up. Let's see if I can get it so you can see. I want my needle to come up right there. So it's just on the opposite side of this leg right here. And that way it'll look like we never even stopped and started. If I come up and start right there between those threads. So see how it is? It's right between those on the back side of this particular area. So I'm going to pull that and hope that it'll bury my my thread pretty easy. Okay, I just see a little hair there. Let me see if I can pull it a little more. All right, and that time I heard it pop, and the pop is a good thing as long as it doesn't pop out. So it's gone up under there and it's buried. And then I'm just going to simply start again. And just again, put your stitches on repeat, come over about 1/8 of, you're in about 1/8 of an inch, you're over about 1/8 of an inch. You're going to come up so that you're coming through the sand. You're going to keep that needle inside the inside the circle, and then your thread, and then you're just going to repeat again. So I'm going to reposition again, and I hope you can see that well. I'm going to come over about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to come up through the sand. I think I missed it that time. And pull into the coral, out at the sand, and pull into the coral, out at the sand with my needle staying inside the circle of thread, and pull. Inside the coral, out at the sand, inside the circle, and pull. So I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to blanket stitch all the way around counterclockwise until I get back to where I started. So I hope you've got beginning to get a good handle on the blanket stitch. And when I give you information, it's not to discourage you, it's just to make you understand that where you're at is a good place. The educational knowledge is basically telling us that somewhere between 30 and 60 times you've got to repeat the process of something. So that means by the time you get through this project, I think you're going to be pretty skilled at peeling down the floss, at threading your needle, at beginning and ending your blanket stitch. So you'll get lots of practice with that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off now because hopefully you've got instruction. If you need to back up the previous video to see how to start the blanket stitch or how to form those stitches, you'll have that information. I'll probably stitch through all of this thread, and then I may not finish mine, but that's only because mine's a sample and I want to leave a little bit to do on the Zoom video with you should someone have a question. So the next thing that you'll see me do is you'll see this thread stitched and finished, and I'm going to come on to the straps, the orange straps of the flip-flop. So happy stitching. Your job now is to blanket stitch the remainder of your fun and get that down securely and permanently. Happy stitching. Laura Bosma, Pretty Penny Precuts, in conjunction with the Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum. Hopefully you're enjoying Stitch at Home Summer Camp 2020.